We are entering the second weekend in August, and that means that in 2 more weekends, we'll be watching real live football that counts. And in 3 more weekends, we're going to watch Mississippi State kick it off at Davis-Wade Stadium against the Lions of Southeastern Louisiana. Frank Scelfo is the head coach, has been for a few years. He has kind of a quarterback background in terms of coaching. He spent some time in the NFL, coached Blake Bortles, coached Nick Foles in college. He's a heck of a coach, very highly thought of guy too, and he's done a really nice job. Back-to-back 9-win seasons, back-to-back trips to the second round of the FCS playoffs. They have finished in the top 25 for 4 straight seasons, and they are one of only 3 schools in the entire country in the FCS have done that. So they are a very good, not just competitive, but a very good, have been, FCS football team. 2 years ago, a 9-win team. They ran up against James Madison in the second round of the playoffs. Last year, 9-win football team, new starting quarterbacks, and all of that, still 9 wins. Had to go on the road to Samford, second round of the playoffs, lose in overtime. Now, I mentioned quarterbacks. It's interesting. You go back to 2021, so 2 years ago, they had a record setter, fantastic player at quarterback named Cole Kelly. If that sounds familiar to you, in the SEC, there's a reason, because he started his career at Arkansas. Great big guy. You'll remember there at Arkansas, big 6'7" dude, hard to tackle. Transferred from Arkansas to Southeastern Louisiana and immediately began to set some records. Greg Stevens is the offensive coordinator quarterbacks coach. 2 years ago, Cole Kelly, including those 2 playoff games, he's over 5,000 yards passing. He's the Walter Payton Award winner for the FCS, which is like the FCS Heisman. Didn't get drafted. Cole Kelly went to training camp with Washington, didn't make the team, and now he's with the Memphis Showboats in the other league over there. So that was 2021, where they were transitioning from this sort of one of their all-time great players at quarterback. Last year, new guys playing. And I say guys because they played more than one. They had a senior in Cephas Johnson III, who was, you know, a very good runner. Run pass, dual threat, really good athlete that used him in different ways. But they also played another guy, younger guy from Alabama, and he threw the ball a little bit more. His name is Eli Sawyer. He wore number 19 last year. It looks like they got him at number 17 on the roster this year. So Sawyer played a bunch. I think played in 10 games, was actually their leading passer last year. But it's just Cephas Johnson was more of the regular, played a few more snaps. So when you look at offense, they were primarily a 10 personnel and 11 personnel, meaning single back most of the time that I could see in the games that I watched anyway. Check out this creativity on goal line down here. You got tight end on the line, hip tight end with him. And on the snap, little speed motion, run him across like you're going to give it to him. And then the other tight end releases into the back corner of the end zone. Everything looks is going here. Back comes out shallow. They jump all over it, and it just leaves him wide open back here in the back of the end zone. It's a really neat design. So there goes your hip motion across. Show him the ball. Now you see tight end bottom of your screen releasing. Look at all the eyes of the defenders too. I mean, there. He's looking there too. And nobody takes the tight end out of the back. Really good design. Jump on the running back, throw him wide open, touchdown. Another really neat goal line design, 3rd and goal. So double tights, one down, one with his hand up, back to that side. And I say it's double tights. It's really, in terms of personnel, it's tight end with his hand down, receiver walked in. I think that's your personnel. But the other tight sort of in that hip position on the other side. So it's really 12 personnel because you have 2 tight ends of the game on 3rd and goal. And design the play. So you're going to get, release, you're going to get release, and they're going to choice route this back out and then back in and hit him underneath the coverage right there on the goal line. It kind of has the look of something that is game planned for this game that they put on film. Release, look out, hit him inside. It's a really good catch, by the way, the running back. Look at the running back's action. I'm looking outside, I'm going to the flat. No, I'm not, I'm back in. So they just run him off and then hit him there on the little stick route type deal. And that's a good job by a running back. A lot of times you miss those guys like that, make them turn around. That's not a catch, but he hauled it in. And I know a lot of coaches will see all this. You got 2 eligible receivers down here, back to this side, and a lot of coaches will tell you, man, just take this one-on-one right here. If you win, I mean, it's an easy, might even be an easier throw, and he definitely wins up top. Just zoop, right by him. You hit him right now. It's easy one-on-one score. You do have somebody in the throwing lane, but not complaining about the scores. That's nice design, though, using those tight ends, put them all over the place. That running back catch that ball. He put him on him. It's a fastball on his back shoulder, made him turn, but he caught it. Good play. You know, sometimes without a tight end, but a lot of times with. So 11 personnel a good bit too. Move them around. So, yeah, and in terms of run game, zone run game. So this is the guy talking about Sawyer. Played a bunch for him last year. Wore 19, looks like last year, maybe 17 this year. So an example of formation. Tight end left, ball on the right hash, back into the boundary. And so you got, you know, 3 receivers out here with a tight end. Watch some of it. They fake. Look how they keep them both in. Again, so this be 7-man protection. Tight end staying in, back coming, pick up backside. So you got 7-man protect. So throwing a 3-man route out here wide side of the field. We saw this a good bit against Jacksonville State. So tight end in the boundary. And you got receiver wide side. And your 2 receivers out, you know, split out. They're really tight to the formation. You know, they're lined up basically on the hash right there. There's a 4th down situation in the game. Shows you what they do or what they did. Double tights, strong side, one there, one there. Bring that receiver in, hip, single back. Didn't see any 2 backs, but, you know, you do see 2 tight ends. And run, quarterback power. They have been a really good, consistent, explosive offense the last couple of years at their level. So I mentioned last season they're 9-4, 5-1 in their conference. And when you look at scoring offense last year, they actually went down a little bit from the year before. So last season they were at 35 points a ball game scoring, right at 35 a game, and right at 459 yards of offense per game. So they really moved the ball, scored 35 points a game. That was last year. And when you look at it the year before, they were up at 45 points a game and at 586 yards per game. So a drop of about 10 points per ball game and a drop of about 100 yards per game from 2021 when they had Cole Kelly to last year, the combination of Johnson III and Sawyer. So a drop off, but the win totals were the same as a team. So here they are against Jacksonville State, some 3rd and 4th down, you know, conversion type stuff. Example here, tight end into the boundary, you know, motion in. So it's empty with the 3 wides to the wide side of the field. A lot of times you see that with motion, with a mobile quarterback, short yardage, you think some sort of quarterback run, right? Possible. And yeah, what you get. Try to ride, get to the stick, come up a little bit short. 3rd and 8 later, now you get the other quarterback in, and it's just even up 4 wides. Pretty clear to see what they're doing right there. Single back, ball on the left hash, so backs to the wide side of the field. You know, put him in a gun. And again, it kind of shows you, you know, left hash, and it is 4 wide, but look how tight they are lined up there. So just, you know, again, it's not super duper film study, but you see an example of different types of formations. Drop him in the pocket, throw it underneath, run him out on the other side, run him off, bring him across. It's kind of an air raid deal. So what they had is, you know, some form of verticals or getting them out of there over the into the boundary. Protection holds up against 4-man rush and run a twist and just drag across and come underneath and let it clear, hold the ball, and give him a catchable football for a 1st down. 9-4 both years, 2nd round of the playoffs both years. And I think some of that was because they were pretty doggone good. They really had some good players on the defensive side of the ball last year. They lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball, looks like to me. There were 2 players who have been All-Americans at the FCS level for the last 3 seasons, 20, 21, and 22. And both of those were in their secondary. And both of those FCS All-Americans have transferred up to Power 5 schools. One went to Minnesota. One has gone to LSU. 𝗢𝗣𝗢𝗢𝗢𝗓, listed as a junior, he's transferred up from SELA to LSU. He'll be there this year, a big 6'2", 188-pound corner. He was a 3-year starter up through last year for the Lions and was a big part of their defense. And so he's gone from one corner, big tall corner, who's now transferred to LSU. And Then you had a safety player who's transferred to Minnesota, Jack Henderson, big 6'3", 215-pound safety, dog-type player, hybrid-type player. He was the team leader in tackles last year at SELA, and as I said, a 3-year All-American at the FCS level. Transferred to Minnesota, and so he's going to go up there and row the boat a little bit this year. And I think he's got 2 years of eligibility left. So when you look at a few snaps for them defensively, just looking at the film, you see a little bit of everything. Watch a little bit of their defense. This is against Samford in the playoff game. You got a 4-man front right there. Really 2 linebackers, more of a 4-2 look. Still had nickel in the ball game with 5 DBs. Multiple, they could game plan according to who their opponent was. You watch them against Samford. They had some 3-down lineman packages. They had some 4-down lineman packages. But see, there's 4. Yeah, and again, I think that's probably nickel personnel. I can't see the number. I think this may be your guy who transferred to Minnesota, was your leading tackler on the team, who's transferred out of there now. And so it has a nickel look to it. Good job up front right there. Now, I don't know if that's him or not. I can't tell. I can't tell by the number. That might be him, might not be. Delivers a big hit right there. The guy circled. Watch him come across right here and headhunt. Bow. And so schematically, again, there's only so many ways you can line up defensively. Look here on 2nd and 9. A little bit of a pressure look. They put 4 down, and they're bringing 1 off the edge. Almost gets caught, jumping off sides there. If they snap the ball, they got him. But you got 6 in the box, 5 on the line of scrimmage, 6 in the box, so it gave them a shot down the field. It's just something to note because, again, this is their last game last year. Personnel is different, but I can just tell you all day long, if you got a Will Rogers standing back here, regardless of what's called, he's really capable of checking things and seeing things to the line. And if you show this early coming off the edge like that, if you show that early coming off the edge and give him a one-on-one somewhere, he'll take it. You put 5 on the line, 6 in the box, a bunch of people down low. He'll do what this guy did and take that shot. They just don't hit it. They lost their most productive player on the defensive front, big guy that had 5 TFLs and 3 sacks. 𝗎𝗪𝗓𝗓 had 3 interceptions for him last year. The kid that went to LSU. They had another guy who was in one of their top 5 tacklers who also had 3 picks. He doesn't return. So it looks to me like 2 All-Americans in the secondary transferring out and some guys graduating, that they are really going to have to retool on defense this year, and we'll run some new players out there. Look at this. Look at the way they lost the playoff game against Samford. I mean, this is just brutal right here. So it's going to be a quarterback run, and it's a 2nd and 1 play. They're getting the 1st down. They got a new set of downs in overtime, but he pulls on that zone read. He's trying to get more. Somebody comes from behind, knocks the ball out. It's off the pylon. Okay, you see what happens right here? So here he is. Ball is a little bit extended out away from the body, right? In terms of how you teach someone to carry the football. See that? I'm having a hard time stopping it. See that? So this is like coaching point right here, big time. This is a senior player who has waited his time, has played really well all year long. It's got them to 9 wins. They're this close to scoring in the first possession of overtime. And he's trying to make something, but you got this separation, this coaching points, the little things, fundamentals. The coaches harp on fundamentals, and players are like, why are we always worrying about how I cradle this ball or how I hold this ball tight? You're not supposed to have any room between body and ball. And here's why. Because the little things, it'll jump up and bite you. Here comes a guy from behind, ball is extended, helmet on the football, knocks it out, off the pylon, does not go out of bounds, kicks back into the end zone, and that is a fumble and a recovery and a touchback. Just a brutal, brutal way to end your season, ultimately into the last play of your college career, something that he's going to have to live with, and it's part of the game, off the pylon right there. But the fundamentals, the little things like just consistently holding the ball the right way, are going to eventually make all the difference. And so Samford got it. In overtime, they kept SELA from scoring. And a few plays later, quarterback lead draw, walks into the end zone, ball game. So a tough way. It was 42-42 in regulation. They go to overtime. You had the fumble at the goal line, and Samford wins the playoff game and moves on there. And that's how their season ended a year ago. You look back, it's been a little while since this Southeastern Louisiana team played in front of a big crowd like this. Last year in 22, they didn't play against anybody that was a Power 5 team. Maybe the biggest crowd they played in front of was, 15, 16,000 at Louisiana Tech. A couple of years ago in 21, same thing. You got to go all the way back. I think it is in 2019, when they played at Ole Miss early in the year. They played in front of about 45,000 people there. So this is the first game in a while against a Power 5 program, and it's certainly the first time in a while that any of these guys are going to step onto a field in front of about 60,000 people for State's season opener. So, you just take that into consideration. These guys are really going to be excited to play this football game. They have a guy on the coaching staff, just to note, that's on the all-name team. That's right, defensive line coach at SELA, Tom Rinaldi. So look out for him in a few weeks in Starkville. Appreciate you watching this. That's the Lions of Southeastern Louisiana. Very basic on the surface. Just look at who they are, what they have coming into this year, and that's who's going to run out there and be State's opponent, number 1, in just a few weeks. See you on the next one. See you.